I can deal with it. Alrighty. Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to Smudcast number 822. Every video game is woke, apparently. And this is from The Act Man. I don't remember covering this guy in a while, or have we covered him yet? But it's a 22-minute long video, just came out. And we gotta define the terms for him, because I highly doubt he is of the mindset, or at least of the knowledge, of what woke actually means. And I'm not saying it's easy to define, because obviously we've heard it a lot of times, but there's many branches to wokeisms. But the main is like a hierarchy. The main head of the branch, or the trunk of the branch, is Marxism. That's what it starts with, and everything else is a flavor of Marxism. So if you say woke is Marxism, then woke identity is or identity-based Marxism. That's what woke is. So the head of the tree is Marxism, and then you have something called classical economic Marxism. You've heard that before if you ever read Capital or anything by Karl Marx. That's what he's getting into, and that's essentially the religion of what it means to be socialist, what it means to be a complete man, because you control the means of production, therefore you are fulfilling your social needs and you don't need anything else. And the whole view of socialism being Marxist, everyone should be Marxist, and then we could all be happy together. That's the theory. Anyway, that's the good form of Marxism in the honest way of describing it. Then you have radical feminism. Don't get into that. Critical race theory. We won't get into that. Post-colonial theory, very similar to critical race theory. Only one has to do with race. The one has to do with oppressors being, the West. Call it that. And the final one, which everyone knows, is queer theory. That has to do with everything related to not just sexuality, but sex, identity, and the wonderful, the alphabet mafia. You want to go that far? So anything that has to do with those elements, and they're hard to describe, but anything related to those things of identity, sex, race, oppression, white, not necessarily capitalism, but capitalism is definitely one of them. I guess when I talk about classical economic Marxism, that would be that. And radical feminism, we're all talking about wokeism. And it's like a spectrum. It's not all clear. It's not all bad until you see it permeate in certain things, like the Spider-Man 2 game, where you have all kinds of things in the background, but not in the foreground. So you have like the quest line to have one gay male in high school ask someone out who was his gay friend. You have NPCs who say, "Thank you for saving me, Spider-Man. By the way, my boyfriend is a big fan." And it's just like these little things like that. There's of course all other stuff in there, all kinds of crap, but that is part of it. If it's insular, if it's one thing, that's fine. It doesn't. Who really cares about males or females, heterosexual, homosexual? Who really cares? But it's peppered throughout the story. That's called pandering, and that is the problem. That is the weird, strange way to put your ideology in something where it does not belong. So that's what it comes down to that for me. Not the social element, not the cultural element, not the power class struggle bull crap. It is putting something where it does not belong. Anyway.
Yeah, I think there, and in this video especially, there's also another problem, which is misusing the terms. For example, saying that something is political is not the same as having political teams. And this is the conflation that is very often made, even as in this video by Actman.
Okay.
Yeah, one is active, one is passive. And all of these theories, they do exist solely to create a form of class struggle. Everything is called a class. Different demographics are called a class. And then they're pitted against each other. It's effectively just a form of very elaborate divide and conquer.
Yeah.
Because you split everyone up, pit them against each other, and thereby gain power through the chaos.
Yeah, when you say class struggle, we're talking about in the woke context, that would be like critical race theory. It's the equivalent. They mean exactly the same thing.
Yeah, which is race socialism, which is exactly what the Nazis did.
Yeah, and you're going into like, oh geez, like whiteness is like property, and therefore everything that's white is a privilege.
Yeah.
And there's cultural, like private property, and that has to be abolished to have the racial justice, so everyone's equal. Yeah.
Oh no, racial justice is the exact thing that the Nazis did.
Yeah, I know.
And it's the one word they don't use in Germany. Because if you translate that word into German, which they would have to, which people would automatically do if they were aware that this word is used in the English sphere, all the Germans would go, wait a minute. Rassengerechtigkeit? That sounds like out of the Austrians' book.
Yeah, and we don't want to go to the Frankfurt School to describe things like social justice or what they wanted to do in the 60s and what happened after the war.
That's just code for socialism.
It's just more flavors of the same and different iterations. And then they realized, hey, you know, we got all this money and power in the people making media and controlling stuff. Let's just influence them. And
they just keep using new words for the ever same thing.
Yeah, and use the energy of all the people who are actually oppressed or queer or whatever, and they just, we got to represent them, so they have all this energy for a revolution. And while they're trying to make that, what's it called? There's a special word for it from the Soviet Union made for media. Agitprop, I think it's what it's called.
Agitprop, yes. It's a portmanteau from agitation propaganda.
There you go.
And my homeland that I was born in, East Germany, which called itself the German Democratic Republic, and it was as democratic as every socialist nation is, by declaring that the people agree with us, and everyone who doesn't agree with us is not of the people and goes to the camp or to the wall, and not over the wall, against the wall.
It goes the same. Yeah, it goes the same.
Yeah.
Further east when it was Polish People's Republic, which has nothing to do with republic.
Yeah. Well, North Korea is also calls itself that. China calls itself. Do they call themselves democratic in any way?
It's still Marxist-Leninist, so it's the same idea, really.
Yeah. What was it before?
Really.
Agitprop, yes. We had a ministry of agitation and propaganda. And a certain Angela Merkel worked for it in a key position. So she was not, and you don't get that position without being completely in that ideology.
Okay, well, I think we've defined it well enough. I think we can get started.
Yeah, that's one interesting bit. Marx vehemently disagreed with the idea of calling everything a class. He called these ideas of calling races and sexes fake classes. So he himself called this shit out. He only insisted on the economic classes, that those were real classes, and all of the stuff that they do today, that would be, from his point of view, a corruption of his ideas, not an expansion.
That's interesting. Okay. I'd love to keep rambling on about this because it's really relevant to this, hopefully to this video, if he knows what the hell we're talking about. I highly doubt it, though. But okay, let's see.
Oh no, this guy is a complete flag in the wind. If anyone is a grifter, it is him, because he just says whatever he feels is safe to say.
Is he selling us those T-shirts?
To stay on top.
Is that what he's selling? What's the product I want to know what he's selling us. Is it views? What is it? What's he selling?
No, what he's selling us is he gives us an opinion that he believes is safe to say to stay on top of relevance while not being torn down, while not being attacked, so that he gets the clicks.
Okay.
This is how he gets his income.
All right.
It's just any other talking head. In Germany, we call this a flag in the wind.
All right, here we go. 22 minutes. Let's get going with the act, man.
What's up, everybody? This is the man here, and today, games that are woke out there, and you've got to be on the lookout. Thankfully, there is a list just for you, so you can keep track of all of that woke nonsense and all of those political agendas being pushed into your games, and you can avoid it, and I'm going to help you. So here it is, ladies.
Is that a tattoo? I thought that was a skin thing. But it's a tattoo. Okay, I thought it was like salad or something. Okay, never mind.
It is, tattoos are skin things.
I was like, wait, I know, but I thought it was like a rash or I don't know, cream. I couldn't tell. And I set up. I'm like, well, it's a tattoo. Okay, never mind.
Gentlemen, and
there's one thing I want to say
so you
about
know, this list is very...
Pause button.
What?
There's one thing I want to say about this. If instead of what we call woke, which is an iteration of communism or communist propaganda, it's just not the one that runs in China because they don't have need for it. The woke propaganda is to tear a nation or people, a culture down. China has total socialist control. And all the total socialist control nations that you see on the planet, and China is the best example, they don't have need of woke propaganda because they don't want to tear themselves down. They want to prop themselves up. That's why once socialism is in power, it gets all the classical stuff again. It gets the nationalism on hyper mode, which we had in East Germany, in the Soviet Union. You have it in North Korea and China.
Yeah, this is why there is that difference with TikTok in China.
Yeah, they are not against nationalism. They just want it to be only about them, about their ideology. The reason why I bring this up is that people are confused about, well, the Chinese aren't doing it. They're way more sane than we are. No, they're not. They don't have need for it.
Woke is basically Maoism with American characteristics. It's the same.
Yes.
It's the same ideas. So
yes, and that's what the culture war really is about. It's the Cultural Revolution. The Cultural Revolution, if anyone remembers what Mao did, is destroy everything that was, so that only socialism remains, only the ideology remains. So this is, and this comes in phases. So this is the phase where everything is undermined and everything is tarnished. They don't care that Disney, that shits them money, gets destroyed in the end. They don't want Disney to exist. They infest it, cannibalize the corpse of Disney, and in the meantime turn everything into propaganda so that you make bad associations with your nice childhood memories, and you don't ever want to watch Star Wars again because you remember all of this crappy Disney Star Wars. Then it's gone.
all right, let's go.
And yeah.
Very, very comprehensive. There's a lot of woke stuff out there. A lot of wokeness. As you can clear... There's fucking 1,400.
Yeah.
He already twice made the kind of, make light of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like by putting, woke rocks or this woke balloons and stuff like that. So he is already trying to tear down the whole concept.
So what I wanted to say here was that, I got off track too far, is that if this, instead of the communist ideology propaganda tool, this was an easily understood, easily identified Nazi propaganda, everybody would be up in arms.
Oh, that we would talk about the Frankfurt School immediately and just point out the connection. Yeah, it'd be right there.
But it's the exact same.
Yeah.
It is the exact same ideology.
Well,
in the end, the difference between fascism and communism is so minuscule.
He hasn't actually defined his term. He's just like, oh no, it's woke. It's like, what are we scared of? What are you talking about? What's the problem? Like, he's not addressing what the concern is. He's just
People
getting
like
into
him
it.
don't define anything.
Like everyone knows what he's talking about. It's like, what do you could be talking about a recipe for ice cream. Like, what's happening right now?
Look, okay, it's no secret that companies are sometimes pushing agendas in media, pop culture, video games, and whatnot. Bloons Tower Defense 6 is woke now, fellas.
What is this? Companies do this thing with ideology. Oh, by the way, Bloons Tower Defense. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, what's the claim about Bloons? Like, Bloons is a very, very innocuous, harmless thing. So the question then would be, well, why is Bloons on the list? What's the reason? Yeah. Just that you dismiss it because it's a tiny little mini game.
That's right.
Doesn't make sense.
Pro LGBTQ plus messaging. Can you believe it? There's a pride flag item available in the trophy store with a pro pride message.
Oh yeah, no, that's not the pride flag. Well, they call it the pride flag. That's the pedo racist flag. The black and brown strips are there for race supremacy of black people, not for awareness, because the rainbow was already inclusive.
Yeah,
if you need an extra attention stamp so that you feel that you're there, that's a narcissism problem.
I would.
Then you are the problem. You just want to control the shit. And the other thing, the blue-pink thing, that was invented by a non-dysphoric pedophile in the 90s.
Jeez. If they knew all of this came from the Frankfurt School and they could not, like if they saw a Nazi flag, how do you think they would think? How would they react to a Nazi flag? It's the same thing. The philosophy is exactly the same. And, this one's a rainbow. It's colorful. It represents us all. It's like it represents...
No, it doesn't.
Control.
Yes. We have to agree or we're bad people. By the way, the original rainbow flag had, like a proper rainbow, 7 stripes. Already in the 80s, they removed one. And since lefties are extremely esoteric, all into this hippie stuff, the colors correspond with the 7 chakras. And the one that they removed, the cyan stripe between the green and dark blue, that's the one that stands for honesty.
All right.
And that's the review. That's
not a woke shirt.
Their
That's a
review
normal
of the
proper
game.
rainbow.
The reviewing game's based on wokeness. This amorphous blob of a term now.
Not amorphous.
So he's just saying, I don't know what it is. I have no idea. I'm just saying it's amorphous. I'm saying he's right.
Well, he does know there's an association with the rainbow flag.
This is like a 2-minute Google search. Then you spend 10 minutes reading all the iterations of what it means, and you're like, okay, I get a semblance of what woke means. He's just making a joke.
I bet he's getting paid for this. It's a big possibility that he's getting paid for this to make the criticism ludicrous, because he is someone who doesn't care what opinion he has as long as he gets money, because this is his income stream. And we know that the commies pay YouTubers, but it's true. We knew it about all the breadtubers that came out. Renegade got money from the CCP.
I still that always makes me
hilarious.
I know.
His comment here reminds me of that article years ago that called women formless and eternal.
The Brethren Moon?
Yeah, like
women are Brethren Moons.
Like some kind of eldritch horrors.
Well, the ultimate conclusion of communism is that we become Brethren Moons. Though we also become indistinguishable from the inanimate matter. Because you can't have... There would still be a distinction, a hierarchy between inorganic and organic matter, and that's unequal.
All right.
Let's just go back to the Big Bang. Collapse back into one tiny point.
Okay.
But
what?
And 6 has been compromised. Thank you, woke detective, for making me aware of this. I can finally cleanse my... Just get the wokeness out of here. Get it out of here. Well,
you can uninstall it on the right-click menu, you intelligent man.
Obviously, woke, pronoun selection, they, them, body types instead of male and female.
Yeah.
Improbably diverse MP.
What do you mean? Are you agreeing with that being a point or not?
Did something happen?
Do you find that ludicrous or not?
Yeah. Did something happen to nature in the past billion years where males and females were suddenly iterated as 1 and 2? Really? Can we not use the proper terms for?
The thing is, it's still unequal, because if you have body type A and B clearly comes after A. So it is subject to. So B is subject to A, and 2 is subject to 1, because 1 is high on the hierarchy. So you still have the same bloody problem. And if you can clearly identify body type B from body type A, then we still have the exact same problem. We just name it differently.
Okay.
These people are the communists are idiots.
I just can't see why we can't just use actual words for what they mean. It seems pretty obvious, but apparently
because and this people don't know this. Very few people knew it. Stanislav Lem knew it.
Yeah.
That's why he put this into his sci-fi stories. And the censors didn't censor it because they didn't know what's in the depths of the communist ideology, because it's a very occult and esoteric ideology. You're just to believe that it is secular, that it is atheist, but really it believes in all crazy shit from alchemy and the real stuff of turning things into gold, metaphorically and literally. And part of that is that they, and this is maybe this was inspiration for these Eldritch stories. They want to overcome the boundaries of the flesh and of the mind, because they want to become as gods. They don't want to be held down by the material world.
From what
they believe everything is like Plato's forms. They want to enter the realm of Plato's forms.
From what I recall of Marx, he saw the man as incomplete, and he needed a social element to make his life complete, and that's why everyone needed to be a socialist. And the end goal of socialism is Marxism, so that everyone can have the same control over their own lives in that capacity.
The problem,
you're on track, because so they reveal a little bit of it, but not the core of it, because the core of it, and that's where we get into the crazy magic alchemy, is that they believe that that we create the material world through our minds, as if we are really the player outside. So we are all in the Matrix, but we don't know that we're in the Matrix. It's a form of simulation theory. The socialists believe that the material world only comes to be when we recognize it. And if we think hard enough, if we believe hard enough that the material world is different, then it becomes different. And that means that we need to make everybody think the same way. That's why thought crime is more punishable, will be punished way more than any other crime. Because whoever does the thought crime disrupts the magic spell that changes reality. Because if you keep believing that things are the way they are instead of utopian, then you prohibit utopia from manifestation. Utopia happens and we become God, we all become one and God, if we all, without exception, believe in it in the same moment. That's why socialism kills millions of people. Because all those, it's much easier to control very few people. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. If you thought the world ice theory of the Nazis, where we are descendants from giants that came down from the Himalayas, was insane, this shit is even more insane. And they, of course, never talk about it. Because you would not want to be part of this.
And the main problem of Marx, with what Whisp just explained, is that Marx gives you about 5 layers of babble, so that you have to just go through so much shit to actually understand what he means, that nobody understands it, and people who just believe in it think that you are also stupid because they didn't understand it.
Oh, really?
Do you remember when I read you Marx's poetry, where he writes about being as God who walks through the ruins, the ashes?
Yeah, let's not.
I'm not gonna read it to you again. I'm just saying he wrote poems about
the
this.
idea of using 1 and 2 is something a developer would do when they're filling in dummy data, like on a radio button, so that they don't have to think about it. So when they get to the actual finished product, they've already filled in that dummy data with something else. And in this case, they just went, yeah, it's fine. So we could treat it as, who cares? It's just one iteration of this weird body type thing. Or we could see it for what it is, and then we realize there's a little bit more to it. Now, it's not the worst thing in the world. There's a lot worse games that do things like Starfield is pretty minor on the scale. There's a scale of how much stuff is in these games, and that's pretty minor. So it's not
then there's entire games that designed for it, like Suicide Squad or Concord.
Those are definitely different. Yeah. So it's like, okay, if it's just a few minor things, no one's really going to care too much. But if we keep seeing it in all these games, like all these flags, all this crap where it doesn't belong, you see these patterns. And that's why we have this giant list. And you could say individually, this is dumb. Who cares? It's just one flag. That's a flag. That's no different than what they would see a colonizer as, that they want to conquer and eliminate and take over. That's the whole concept. And
the whole, which makes the whole colonialism complaint that those idiots have of projection, since they're doing it with the damn flag.
Of the West is been in control, and we have to take over our oppressors, and we are a different culture, and yada yada.
That's stupid shit.
Yeah, and there's lots of arguments to be made for multiculturalism, which are healthy and good and great. And we have some of those in the States and Canada. I have a few people that are all wonderful, and they all get along. We have all these boroughs, and we have all these wonderful little versions of countries in Canada and even in Toronto, and that's great.
Yeah, that's really balkanization in the end. You can do this with developed nice cultures, or at least nice people of those cultures. That works. It doesn't work if you get in all the criminal rubble of those cultures, because all cultures have that.
Oh yeah, it's the difference between coming to a country and saying, "Oh, you're privileged, racially privileged, historically, whatever the privilege is. I want what you have, so I can do what I want to do." Which is like set up shop, like, I don't know, restaurant, whatever a person wants to do, as opposed to going, oh, I have to work harder to do what I want to do if I live in a capitalist society, which most countries are, and then I can work and operate at the level I want to operate, and now I'm privileged because I've worked hard enough to do that level of aptitude. So all these things have a positive spin if you look at it a certain way. It's just that everything that we see from these elements, like, here's the pride flag. It's like, that's not something you want to showcase to kids. That's not something you want to show off to the younger people who are growing up learning about sexuality and themselves. You certainly don't want to see a pride parade. You don't want to take your kids to that for the obvious.
Oh, they want that we take the kids to that.
They want, obviously.
One of our gay people on the server. He wanted to help at a gay on a pride parade many years ago, and the sex shop that he helped out with then told him to put out the candy and everything. He asked, "What for?" Well, for the children. Like, what? This is a sex shop. Why should we go give stuff to children? And that's why he dropped out. Because he understood that was wrong. That was insane. And on the multicultural thing, Angela Merkel herself said that Multikulti, which is the German short form of that, doesn't work. And the socialists know that it doesn't work, because what they actually do with this mass immigration, open borders thing is balkanization. Because they're not doing anything for integration, because they don't want to integrate. They want to destroy, and they want to destroy the West, because the West has, for more than a century, refused to subject itself to socialism. So now it just gets destroyed, wiped off the map through a different attack angle, so that they can establish their socialist tyranny. That's why they do all this weird stuff, and people can't make sense of it and wonder, why would you destroy all the good things? Because they're not interested in the good things. They're interested in ruling, and if they rule over the ashes, that's fine for them.
All right.
Because in the end, when you do it like this, you don't have multiculturalism. You will have some assholes who just destroy everybody else, and then you have one culture that wins in the end again, and it won't be the nice one.
Okay, here is a super chat. We'll get on with the video from the Threadnought. Thank you, sir. That's why I started calling them colonizers when they started using the term fan and tourist. It is exactly what they are. I don't know exactly who you're referring to as a fan tourist. It sounds like any fanboy who likes a thing without using critical.
No, we call them tourist is what we call people who walk by any IP, game, franchise, movie, says, I'm totally a fan of the thing. But in 3 hours, that person would have forgotten about it. But it's also people who claim to be totally into the thing, but really they're there to bring in their politics.
Okay.
They don't care about understanding the thing.
I was thinking of, well, the latest example I heard was, I think, last week with David Gator on, I think, Blue Sky he uses. And he called people who are... He had a really weird series of tweets on Blue Sky where he says anyone who's making these weird statements about Veilguard being woke was a tourist. And then he said...
He's trying to spin it around the other way.
And well, later on in the thread, he said, I did not say anything about anyone making comments on what they see about the game as we see it in like trailers or whatever. It's like, did you even understand what you even said? And then he came back a day later and had this whole other thread about that Dragon Age was always woke. And you're like, whoa, David, what are you talking... Like, this is a guy I've actually respected as a writer in Dragon Age because he's one of the better writers. And now
brain's gone.
He's doing the whole... I've always been progressive. Well, Dragon Age has always been this way. It's like, no, the style of art... The style of storytelling, yes, you had all kinds of dark things. You've had all kinds of deviant sexual behavior. You've had gays and bisexuals. That's fine. We've known that. That doesn't make it woke. That's
but retroactively they claim that, and that's the what I talked about with Lala before we started watching Mononoke together. This is part of the political strategy called creating facts. They retroactively claim that due to these things that they have claimed, which is homosexuality, bisexuality, all of those things are only allowed to be on one side of politics. Yeah. So if you are right-wing, you can't be gay.
It's this encapsulation of because it's queer, therefore it's part of us. We're the queer theorists, and if you're gay, you're part of us. And there's lots of people who are like, no, I don't care about your labels.
Well, then you are a traitor.
Yeah.
You're a gay traitor.
You're not a real gay man. You're not part of our group. It's like, what the? Okay. Anyway.
There is a specific example of that where there's a little bit of a reason why out of all the milestone stuff that DC acquired, there's a reason why we only hear about Static. I think it was Bears ages ago that mentioned a character called Icon, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
A black superhero, much older than Static, age-wise. But there's a reason why we haven't heard from Icon again after the 2000s, because in the books he was explicitly a Republican. So that's another example of that, of certain things only being allowed on one side, and if it's on the other, it doesn't exist to these people.
Interesting. I have noticed, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, I have friends who are American, and every time they show me like videos or clips or whatever, all the people that have American flags on their doors or their cars or wherever, we all know who they're voting for, as opposed to those who don't have American flags and have other flags that they're
it's either the American flag or the pedo racist flag. Yes, I refuse to call it the rainbow flag as well.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're not, and you know they hate America. Because America stands for good values, for virtue.
And it's the number one target to queerify or to make queer,
Oh no, the entire West is. Yeah. America is just a very, very important piece in the puzzle, because once America falls, everything's gone. Because America is the only one that constitutionally has the potential to fight back. Because it's actually in there. That's why the founding fathers wrote that in there, that you have free speech and that you are to defend it with your guns against a corrupt, tyrannical government that tries to take you over.
All right.
The question is, when is that? That's the difficult thing to figure out.
Anyway, let's not.
Which is why it shouldn't be any surprise that they have been so adamant about going after the First Amendment. Which is basically the first and second are the ones that are direct challenge to what they want.
And there's an easy trick to get rid of all this censorship on the internet. It's by simply declaring the internet off limits for children. It's an adult tool, not a toy for everyone.
Okay. Anyway. Let's not get too much into politics. I want to try and focus on this video because
what? This whole video's about politics.
Well,
that's it's part of the topic.
Well, he hasn't done that
all
yet? We're sort
together.
of filling in the blanks because he hasn't said anything yet. So I'm
Well,
hoping.
to address his actual complaint here, the reason there's so many games full of this shit is because the entire point of this ideology, of this propaganda, is to be everywhere. That's the point of propaganda. It's supposed to be inescapable. Everything has to be it, so that you have no escapism. You have no choice but to roll over and take it. That's the entire point. And there's been giant, super rich companies like BlackRock that have been funding all of this. So you can't even, I hope that through this decade, people will realize that socialism, communism, is not the ideology of the poor, downtrodden hard worker. No, it's the ideology of the filthy rich that want to control you with lies.
Alrighty. Let's get back
All
to
of this is why this list is as long as it is.
Yeah, and Ego Dreamer in the chat, they're not making an arguments. Those are beliefs. They believe this insane shit.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's
religion.
go.
Yeah.
Hold on, what the fuck does that mean? A verse? They're in space.
So
You see, it's not just what games they classify as woke, it's also the reasons and the recommendation. Oh, fuck.
In space, the problem in space would, for saying, oh, it's improbably diverse, it would be if you always run into this strange group where you have the purebred Asian, purebred Black African, purebred whatever else, and every time it's these exact things, and you have all these purebred people there. You don't really have the mixed people. Which is why they got rid of the mixed races in Dungeons and Dragons. Because the thing is, if we actually went into space and you had, I don't know, 500 people colonize a planet, those 500 people over a few generations would intermix so much that they would all look the same in the end. Because that's why people from different villages all look the same or similar within each village, and you can tell who's from which village. That's a natural process. This whole thing, everything in this ideology is completely contradictory. Nothing makes sense.
Others, yeah, that's definitely woke for sure. I won't be playing that. It did win Game of the Year, but come on, it's woke. It's woke, fellas.
I hate this.
I would argue
line
that
of
Baldur's Gate
argumentation.
3. I would argue Baldur's Gate 3 is a bit more of an anomaly because yes, it does have a little bit of the woke stuff, but it somehow still came out as from what I've heard, as a really good game.
Oh yeah, no one's arguing that Larian doesn't know what they're doing, but you know the way that they did their
still
business.
in there.
Oh yeah, this is fun. Like this is part of like they spent 3 years in early access, and you guys probably remember the bugs, all the memes that came out of that. So,
From a little I remember, yes.
yeah, they were horrible. So a lot of the hardcore players who already bought the game on early access played it to its fruition, and then you could tell the third act is rushed and the quality dropped. And
Yeah.
I don't know if that has anything to do with their business practice or how they make games or who said what, but this is the norm. Day one patches with going gold the week prior, and just constant patches over the next, like even with Cyberpunk over the next year. So yeah, the game may be as a whole fantastic because of the gameplay, the voice acting, all that iteration, but there's all these other elements that we know shouldn't be there, and they feel very off.
All the elements that are still synonymous with the current gaming industry, despite the high quality of the game.
Yeah, they're making the same claim with Veilguard. Oh, they don't have BioWare magic anymore. There's no crunch time. Are you serious? You think video games suddenly changed when what's her name, Corin, became a female and it changed how the whole game works in 2021? It's like, no, you guys are pushing this game out the door as fast as possible. You ran out of money. You don't have 9 years and like, oh well, now we'll get. No, you lost over a dozen alumni including the owners who were gone like years prior, Casey Hudson, who came back just for Anthem, but he was also in charge of the whole studio. Then there was the lead writer who left. And there was the other lead writer who left, who replaced him after 3 years.
Mac Walters, who was one of the last ones to leave.
2023. You're right. He was one of the last ones, and he was in charge of the studio at the time as well. So there's all kinds of crap happening, and they're realizing we can't hold on to this product anymore. It's been 9 years. We got to pump it out the door. And then they scrambled together. They cut down all these features. Everyone's pansexual, just like they were in Dragon Age 2, because they only had a year and a half to work on it. So
and then anyone that knows better about the series immediately calling them out as usual.
Yeah, so it's like the business practice hasn't changed. They're still milking it for what it's worth. They've been on the I would say the tour, but it's really just being interviewed over and over by all kinds of different people over the weeks. And it's like, yeah, this game doesn't look great. And there's that funny I don't know if you guys saw the Asmongold video where they showed the size of the heads. That if everyone's head is gigantic. If you compare it to like an average sized head of like 7/3, I don't know what the body.
For Veilguard, right?
For Veilguard, yeah. They I'll show you the link.
I think I managed to catch a little bit of it. I just don't recall entirely. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a minute or a minute and a half clip of Asmongold clips, and they do a very quick before and after of an artist just taking the head and just shrinking it. And it looks, oh my god, that looks like a normal human, a normal man with broad shoulders, and he's strong, and he's
like in Photoshop or something, or
yeah, that's it. They just take the Photoshop and just
okay, yeah,
and it looks good. I'm like, hey, oh my god, who cares about the style? The bodies look properly, as opposed to all of the characters, even the tiny characters, have gigantic heads, and you're like, okay, this is wrong. This is not. Something is off.
Tells you there's something wrong with the creators of that.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to go into that because you could speculate, and I don't want to say silly things. But
we're not attacking anyone personally, but we see a pattern of there being something not right.
It is the style. You could actually look at the style from the first game all the way to Veilguard, and it was dark fantasy. They didn't have the technology to do things like horns properly for bipeds. Then we get the DA2, more stylized, still dark fantasy, but now you can do the Qunari properly with the horns. Then you get to 3, and the horns are the size of like leg muscles, and they're just like the Iron Bull has horns the size of your arm. Like it looks so ridiculous that the Qunari are now bull men and women, and now we've now transgressed into people, just normal people with.
It's no consistency.
Skull protrusions. I don't know what they're called horns anymore. They just sort of come out of the scalp and like as if they're hair. It looks very strange. So they've changed the style. They changed the Qunari every game. And also the culture of the Qunari changed almost every game as well. So it was consistent more in 2, of course. But that was when they were actually trying to make a product work. Anyway.
Yeah, now it went from dark fantasy to quirky fantasy.
Yeah. Anyway, we got a bunch of super chats. I got to go through them, and then we got to go back to the video.
Yeah.
Frog Jupiter, thank you for the 5. You learn you learn about communism to defend against it. I learn about it to justify Pinochet commies out of a helicopter. We are not the same. Also, you got a second one for me, should see how Yankee libs and commies treat Southern folk. They literally masturbate to us getting unalive. As an Asian Texan, it's disturbing. Wow. Don't know what to say. Texas is a very unique place in America. So a lot of
I have seen such comments.
Really? Okay. Well, let that.
They're insane.
Let's not address that. Okay. And one from Turmoil. Does Dave the Diver also fit the list? I don't know. Does it?
Well,
I couldn't tell you. I've never.
It will be further in the video.
Oh.
Oh dear.
Really?
And Tyler Preston in the chat is spot on. Because we have this. It looks like a double standard until you understand what the ideology is about. It's internally consistent. It just looks hypocritical to us because we look at things from a point of objective reality. And that makes no sense. But if you have a goal, you don't care about making sense, you care about achieving the goal. And that is why when Tyler Preston said, remember people, Stellar Blade is too sexual to game journalists, but they applauded Baldur's Gate 3 for allowing bestiality. That's the point. Because you are not to reproduce, you're in the way of socialism, so you shouldn't have children. So go fuck something else. That's the gist of it.
Oh, okay. Let's not go there. Anyway, 2 minutes in.
Well, the game did.
And Hades fans, oof. Homosexual relationship
Hades
between minor characters. Optional homosexual romance. Damn. Didn't that also get some awards? Look at how many...
What's the argument? It got some awards, therefore I absolve it of this content?
Yeah.
Is that...
The awards are given by the game journalists, who are all woke, who are just agitprop agents.
Why not actually play...
Remember Cuties? That got awards?
Yeah, why not actually, play the Diablo clone and tell me if it's any good? That'd be a good idea. And then say, is this worth your time? And then talk about all the female empowered characters and all the other woke elements that are there. Like all the gods are flipped, I think, on not all of them, but they're flipped genders. It's just like, why use mythology if you're just going to mess it up and switch it around for whatever sexual identity you want to play with? What's the point? It's like they can't. If you're going to make your own mythos, just make your own mythos. We don't care. Go for it. But if you're using something that is appropriating like Norse mythos or Christian or whatever, like, go for it. Like, just use it properly. Why do you think the Japanese are losing their mind over the next Assassin's Creed? It's insulting to them. It's not hard to grasp.
That and the censorship done to the Dragon Quest 3 remake, where even the creator himself called it out.
Oh god.
Yeah. And
that's sad.
That's why God of War Ragnarok is insulting to me, because that's not Norse mythology in any way. That's just name dropping things and dressing them. That's all the accidents, all the looks, the surface of it, but no substance. The substance is inverted. And that's what they always do. They invert the substance.
So ironic, considering the old series did it so well.
Mm-hmm. And it took liberty. The Greek games did take liberties with Greek mythology, but it didn't invert it.
The liberties were mainly only just from the fact that it was being translated over to the game that they made.
No, there were some mythological stretches they did. But it's not something that breaks your immersion.
Yeah.
All right.
Posing. All of these games have... Man.
Yes.
Hogwarts Legacy. Well, we all knew that. Contains over...
Yes, what was it? Plague Knight is now non-binary or some shit?
Really?
I had never heard that before. Now I know.
Yeah, I didn't hear that.
They did something with Plague Knight, I believe.
Oh, the one that focuses on poisons.
It's funny, right? Such a coincidence.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Contains overtly pro-DEI messaging. 1800 Scotland somehow has diverse LGBTQ plus characters.
Yes.
Yeah, you know why that's weird? Because in Celtic and Norse mythology, that usually gets you killed. And culture. And the most common insult there, which works unisex, it leads to meaning different things, but is cockcraver. When you call a woman that, well, he's a whore. If you call a man that, well,
Yeah, but
he's a bundle of sticks.
Yeah, but look at this very strong argumentation that Actman is presenting right now. Oh, the game is buggy. Oh.
Yeah, what's this about? Well, I don't understand.
This is him going right over the point to make it seem like it's something silly and ridiculous. This is just, dishonest tactics.
the effort to edit? Is he editing this himself?
Well, all he's doing is making clips
Probably.
together of a funny scene of bugs, and I'm like, what does this have anything to do with the game or the argument you're making about the game?
Well, he did this right after reading the point out, so he tries to make light of it.
Actman, did you know that once communism has taken power, you are not needed anymore? And since you are not smart enough to do anything of worth, you will either end up working on the conveyor belt, or you will be unalived. Probably the latter.
All right, we can
Like
just,
every of the shills who brought the ideology to power.
we can just keep going. There's nothing here.
Fucking wizards in the game, bro. Just get.
Because wizards, therefore, you could have deviant sexual behavior in ancient Scotland. Okay, I mean, sure, why not? That makes sense.
I wonder why the
over it.
wizards.
Why do we cherry pick historical settings like this when it's clearly not a non-fictional story?
What?
When it's
I
clearly
think-
a non-fictional story? I think
I
he
think-
tripped over himself.
Yeah,
Worse
I
than I
think-
just.
I think the point he was trying to make is that, look, this is not historical, so there being multiple different races of people in 1800s Scotland and also gay people is completely normal.
Yeah, the
It's not
idea that
historical.
because it's magic, you can do anything.
Yes.
Well, then why does God of War get the excuse then? Because the mythology doesn't allow for the shit that they made out of it culturally in God of War Ragnarok. But it's magic, so it doesn't matter. Because, well, we have to respect all cultures except any Western ones. And the Japanese, because they also don't allow the communism, I guess. And this is just
That's
and
that's crazy.
historical. You mean historical, like the Netflix Cleopatra documentary,
Oh, no.
where they made her a black African,
Yeah.
and Egypt is suing them for it?
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Anyway.
It's great.
Hogwarts Legacy
I
is
hope
woke.
Egypt wins.
J.K. Rowling is. I'm a little confused now. I'm a little confused.
J.K. Rowling is what? What are you? What are these
doesn't know.
sentences?
He's just saying random things. He talks like alleged Frank Herbert writes the second Dune trilogy.
Okay, let it go. Jeez.
Never. It will haunt me.
The other famous Pow World is woke because it uses body type in place of biological sex during character
Yes.
creation. Who cares?
Sane people. Parents who want their children to grow up with a functioning brain.
If any of you have seen the video that Az made from Heelface versus Babyface about the Dragon Age Veilguard thing with the character creation, you can see that what happened a year ago was completely justified. He went about, pronouns and the body type A, body type B, and then the Veilguard comes out, and you see what happens if you don't call it out.
Yeah.
They
I
just
would,
go
by the way,
further and further.
Here's what if so in my childhood, long ago times, if I had played a game that had body type 1 and 2 or A and B, there I would think the game is unfinished. Other than that,
Who cares?
after you got male and female, you can then have several body types within that sex. That would be okay, but not to call the sexes that. Because what do we have then? Body type 1A, 1B, 1C, and 2A, 2B, 2C? This is getting silly.
You see how easily like all of these are just. They label that as overtly pro LGBTQ+.
Yes.
Like that's kind of crazy, dude. Oh boy.
No, it's not crazy.
Call of Duty's
That's the
What
pattern.
is crazy? What is crazy is to put that in there, not to complain about it. You are crazy for excusing this shit. And your craziness is rooted in your idiocy, in your lack of a brain, and lack of care.
Yeah, this is a surface level take. I don't know why this guy is he trying to poke fun? Like, what is he trying to do?
I think he doesn't want to be the next on the chopping block of the cancelled pigs.
Okay, I just don't get what the point of this video is. So if you look at this list, it's big. It's like, yeah, that's a bad.
He has a big channel. He doesn't want to be kicked off by YouTube for being against it.
Yeah.
He's appeasing the war gods.
Well, yep, multiple emblems. Yeah, can't have that. Can't have that. Why can't we though? Wouldn't that just give people?
No, because all these flags are just about how you stick your genitals against each other. Why do I have to be reminded of how people stick their genitals against one another in a video game for adults and children?
And why would you feel prideful of doing that? That's kind of gross.
Yeah, these are not. So look. These are not sex games. They're not erotica. Why do I have to be reminded of how people rub their space vegetables against one another?
People ammunition in the lobbies to use those if they want to. You're probably thinking this is like a pride flag too, but unfortunately it is merely a t-shirt of a T-Rex riding a skateboard in a reference to Pink
We're
Floyd's
not
famous
idiots, you
album.
idiot.
Wait. You're telling me you think Dark Side of the Moon is somehow related to a T-Rex spewing a rainbow?
No, he's trying to portray us as so dumb that if we see any type of rainbow, we'd think it's communism.
Yeah, see that prism with the Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd's very famous album, that is what you see on T-shirts. That is iconic. You don't.
I don't think that's the actual one because this is the gay rainbow.
It looks pretty. I mean, I have it downstairs. I can go find it. I have the record. So
Pretty sure the real one has light blue on it.
Okay.
Because it has a real color spectrum.
Either way, that is the iconic image of the album that everyone loves. It's a classic.
Yeah.
You do not put I mean, you could. I've just never seen. I've seen because I'm in Canada. We have stupid jokes. I've seen Dark Side of the Loon. So this duck, and they're sitting on top of a rainbow. But that's stupid. That's silly. Like this is literally a T-Rex spewing rainbow colors. Like what is that?
Oh
By the
no,
way,
it actually is this one. Holy shit.
By the way, the rainbow on his shirt does have light blue on it.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't have the purple.
All right.
So it's a different one. But the Pink Floyd thing actually, well, it depends a bit on how it's printed.
All right. Let's keep going. Here's the thread knot for one more 5. Thank you, sir. I said it before, this guy is pro-woke, but likes to appear as if he's on the side of the people. He's a snake. I'm not sure. I think he's just dumb. Honestly, he's either dumb or ignorant, and I'll just go with that until he starts talking about, this is fine, this is good, I like this. Until he starts doing that, then I'll be like, no, he's just ignorant. He doesn't know what he's talking about. That's fine. That's fine. You could be ignorant, and we can criticize you for not knowing what you're talking about. That's totally fine.
Oh man, I never saw this. This is actually all these Pink Floyd rainbows. They are actually the gay rainbow. They're not the real rainbow.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm surprised this guy's like this now because years ago he made a video about the feminist crap in video games, and he went directly after people like Anita and others.
I know,
over
but
it.
I think a lot
Because
of
that
people.
was the strong position, the strong safe position.
Yeah,
to
I
have
think
then.
a lot of people back in 2016 at least were doing that too. And I saw that and I went, I don't care. I'll do 1 or 2, but that's there's not much to talk about really.
Maybe now there is. Wasn't it said at one point that she's coming back with feminist frequency or some shit?
Oh, who cares? She's dead. She's way past her prime.
We can only wish.
A lot of people have died. She hasn't.
No. I'm not
Evil
talking.
doesn't just die.
I'm not talking about her death. I'm talking about her being relevant, and she just says nothing without her crazy monkey boy. What's his name? McIntosh. She has nothing to say.
But isn't she still being booked to hold talks about all this crap?
She was at BioWare a few years ago, but then that was like COVID, so no one gave a shit.
You hear that? Veilguard's her fault.
Yeah. Anyway.
No, she's just not prominent right
Moon.
Uh-huh.
It was the wokest thing. But no. If you thought I was wearing a rainbow shirt, you're really funny.
It is a rainbow shirt.
That's really funny. It's crazy.
It's a rainbow,
that, like,
it's just not the gay
all
rainbow.
they need. Like just this, like a pride
No.
flag in a game. Even if
This is why I said before that this
He's
list,
disingenuous as hell.
that this list that he's using is probably made to look our side look bad because it has way too many things that just don't belong there.
like I saw No More Hero 6 on that damn list, and like yes, I have seen the rainbow graffiti for myself that the list says is in the game. It's literally just the one thing, and that's it.
And when we make mods to remove it, we get banned. Because it has to stay there. It's inevitable. It's inescapable. That's why it's bad. If you force people to see it, it's bad. Then you are the tyrant. You are the bad guy. You are the oppressor.
All right.
If it's cosmetic, you can't even have that. Like, they don't even want that. No rainbows allowed.
How about the Nazi flag? Do you like the Nazi flags? Those are okay, right?
Not in Germany.
There is one thing. There's one thing to say about what he just made point about, which is, oh, you don't want the rainbow flags. Okay, so if he thinks that this is just thing of preference, why people were banned for stuff like mods which were taking the flags out?
Yeah.
It is not. It is a preference when it comes to your side, but we are forced to endure this. Otherwise we get banned.
And nothing happens to any mods that add it in where it isn't already. That's the double standard.
No pride flags. Season is upon us, and the best way to cope with my beloved Seabirds not making the playoffs.
Moving on.
Oh my god. So we could say this is what he's selling: fantasy football. All right. I mean, maybe if
Gambling,
you like sports.
It's just
Gambling.
I think you get the sponsor regardless.
It's just a sponsor, whatever.
Warzone is woke. 2019. Yep. Black Ops Cold War. Campaign character creator menu has options for non-binary. God, even Black Ops.
Yeah? What's your problem? Non-binary is nonsense. It's invented. It's a sociology invented term. It has nothing to do with biology or neurology. It doesn't exist. It's made up so that you can claim that you're somehow not normal. Because then you are special. And then you get special treatment and special protections. And everybody can think you're special. And if they don't, you can force them because now there are laws to protect this made-up bullshit that's only there for narcissistic idiots.
Where is this damn list? Is it public or
I think
is
so.
it just
Probably.
Yeah. It's from the. Was it the Steam group that did this?
okay? If anyone watching that's in Smud server if anyone can find it and tag me with it, please do. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, I haven't followed the whole Cabrutos thing since he fired all the mods and replaced them with his friends who don't speak English, which was a really smart move, man.
All right.
How do you communicate with anyone?
Let's go.
Yeah, I don't think that this list has anything to do with him. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think this is made by someone else. So yeah.
Okay.
Cold War is woke now. Jesus. We're getting massacred out here, man. What kind of fucking games are on here?
Who's we?
Was a teenage exocolonist.
Yeah, that is definitely
Questionable.
Oh, so she has the skin condition.
Yes.
So she's a black space elf with the skin condition.
A black space elf. Yeah. Why?
The skin condition is very, very.
A furry space
prominent.
elf. What is going on?
That thing is very prominent in the woke circles.
They're fetishizing everything that's out of the norm. Everything that's an anomaly, they fetishize.
We saw that with the Veilguard with Vitiligo, and it already had scars. It had like you can do all kinds of cosmetic crap. The problem is we've already had tattoos in Dragon Age, and it was fine. We already had scars in Dragon Age. Everything makes up, but to have all these iterations of even more bump mapping and more crap on your character for no reason, it sours the whole value of when you made a character back in Origins and you had an Orzammarian dwarf who was part of the nobility. You're like, oh yeah, give him the proper tattoos to represent that. Like that had narrative value, and plus the origin story of being a noble or being a non-noble. So now it's just paint. It's just paint on your body. No one cares.
Maybe this is why they love to liken themselves, and this is not a joke. In their academic papers, they do liken themselves to things like cancer. Maybe that is in part not just because they undermine the host, but because cancer cells deviate from the norm, as if rebelling against the body.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they fetishize them.
What's next?
By the way, this character here is called Nougat,
Oh,
a type of chocolate.
so she's a
I thought calling black people chocolate was racist.
well, she's a black furry vitiligoan elven.
With the skin condition.
Well, yeah, vitiligo. I
Named
assume.
after chocolate.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're trans. Like, it would just be one of those extra things on top. Why not? Just keep going.
Well, so far in the text, it's a female.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But it could be a boy because it's androgynous drawn.
Yeah.
You never know.
Who knows?
Because all their boys and girls, they look the same.
Fun. Okay. Good stuff.
It's overtly anti-capitalism messaging. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
That's because you're just doing communist bullshit.
Why are we associating? Like, does this guy know anything about the origins of these words?
No, of course not. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't know what capitalism is. He doesn't know what communism is. He doesn't know that the capitalist critique is a projection of communism, of what it does when it is in power.
Yeah.
Then it fulfills the critique it has of capitalism. It does all those things itself.
If he wants to bring up games that have talked about capitalism, like BioShock, and they've done it properly, it's like, oh, this is what happens when you have no rules. It's like, interesting. That's a fascinating setting.
Yeah.
And that's the whole game is the Rapture setting. But to just
It's
do
not that they do-
anti-capitalism elements is like, okay, why would you
It's not.
have that?
It's not even that they criticize what they call capitalism, and what they call capitalism is just a normal market economy.
Yeah, and when you think of villains in stories that like Bond villains, it's always some rich capitalist guy who wants to control the news.
Oh no, it's not even
or
that.
the
If
water.
it was that, in Galactica was a prime example of how they do their capitalist critique. Because they don't do it. They just say capitalism is bad. Oh, the bad capitalism. While you are playing a company or corporation. It changes throughout the game because the writer of that game from Bright Rock Games is an idiot who doesn't know the difference between a company and a corporation. So he uses the terms interchangeably.
Oh, well, when I was referring to the first type of wokeism, which was classical economic Marxism, if you don't know that, which this gentleman doesn't seem to know, I don't think it's worth listening to this guy. Like, he doesn't even know the basis of where all these words are coming from. Like, he doesn't even know.
We knew that before the video. We knew that he's an idiot.
I wanted a definition. This is what I'm going to talk about. Here's the definition I'm using. And if he just gave us one definition, I'd be like, great, let's use that. And then we'll see where he misses the mark. He's just saying, what's wrong with critiquing capitalism? It's like, are you serious? You're talking about woke culture. That's like their number one thing. That's where it started.
What is the critique of capitalism, Actman? Give us something.
Tell us the problem.
And give us a critique of socialism. What does socialism do wrong? Did socialism ever do anything wrong?
I want to go for another few minutes, and then once we get to the middle, I'm either going to stop or jump to the end, because he's doing everything backwards if he's going to do it correctly at all, or he's never going to define his terms, and he's just going to keep laughing at the list, and we'll just be bored for an hour.
Man, if video games were doing as much socialist critique as they do alleged capitalist critique, man, the socialism would be just in the dumpster, because that would actually be correct to criticize.
There are games, there's plenty of games that I know of that are pro-capitalism or against the evil tyranny of an empire, which is close to imperialism, communism. Those are the classic evil bad villain tropes. But there's never like there's never a Galt's Gulch scenario. There's never it's kind of boring if you were to be like an industrialist that's starting from scratch. It would work, and you could see, your corporation or whatever institution that you create that generates something, makes a product, while all the socialist communes are like starving. And they're like, maybe we should go join that country over there. Like I've never really, it's not a game design. Like I've never heard of that. So, and I doubt it would be very fun because everyone wants to.
Factorio is very productive.
Yeah, I was thinking of that. Maybe Age of Empires where you build your own world, or Age of Wonders, whatever. But then you want to fight. You want to like blow stuff up, and that'd be more fun. So yeah, the making an economy, unless it's like a 4X game where you can win through economic reasons, then that would be fun. But it's not about economic models. It would just be I can amass more resources than you can faster. So yeah, not something you can gamify, really.
What's wrong with this Bioshock? Criticizing capitalism is...
No. Bioshock does not criticize capitalism. It plays through libertarianism that has capitalist elements, but it is about individual freedom first and foremost. And a certain man who plays it so to the end that it costs him his life.
And what happens if there are no rules and you have this, everyone does their own thing and they take advantage of each other, and the guy keeps it going.
The problem is rather a strange form of anarchy in a way.
Rebellion, yeah, that's definitely an interesting take. It's such a fascinating game, and it's a fun game, and it speaks for itself as the setting, because that's the nature of the game. So those, even if it was the opposite, even if it was talking about the horrors of socialism, it would still be an awesome game. And I don't know how that would work, but it would still be the same message of this without rules, or too many rules in that case, would still fall apart. So it's as if life is a delicate balance and nature is a delicate balance of existence and survival, and getting all the basic necessities figured out and keeping the influx of those resources circulating. It's like life. Like, wow, how do we keep everything balanced in nature? I don't know. Anyway,
I think nature is pretty good at doing that by itself. When something doesn't work, it dies.
Okay, we got 6 minutes in. I'm gonna go till 11 because this is dumb. This is just layman surface level crap.
But
look at this game. Look at that game. It's like, I don't care.
But Smut, he'll accuse us of skipping his very
care.
valid and strong arguments.
His opinion is not worth much, so I don't really care what he thinks about us. That's fine.
He's also likely to respond.
Oh, what? Well, I know who wrote this list. It was actually one of the founders of Autism.net. Call of Duty. So all of the Call of Duty games that are on Steam are woke. Hard confirm. I will be taking down any reviews of any woke games I've done. Undertale is woke.
Yes.
Shit. Multiple non-binary characters use they/them pronouns, including the player character. 2 major characters can form a homosexual relationship. Well, it's a good thing I've never played Undertale. Oh boy, here we go. We're getting to the good shit. Red Dead Redemption 2. Informational, right? Red Dead 2 only contains subtly pro-DEI subtly pro-diversity, equity, and inclusion messaging. Several minor characters espouse modern-day political sentiments. As an example, the NPC Sadie Adler behaves the same way a modern feminist would.
Yep, that's immersion breaking, you dulled.
It's called anachronistic elements.
For me, the funniest way is that this list is full of so much shit, and he actually uses examples that are valid.
He has to go for the popular games that other people do know.
Yeah, and those things that are written as an examples are actually valid problems, which is, to me, this is very interesting that he doesn't even realize how bad it looks on him.
He never does. He never does. That's the point of a flag in the wind is to act as if nothing is ever a problem and you're always right and no problems, no criticism towards you even exists. Angela Merkel did the same thing. We joked about her. For one, we called her Teflon Merkel because nothing stuck to her. And the other trick she pulled was if there was ever a protest against her, she would turn around and say, all of these people stand behind me. And that's what he does. That's what Ackman does.
All right.
Flag in the wind.
You're fucking gay! As in homosexual!
That is one of the most retarded things I've ever heard. So I like subtly pro DEI messaging in 1899. Yeah. Dutch only got Lenny and Charles on the squad, so it would help his DEI scores with the Pinkertons. Yeah, I like several modern day characters espouse modern day political sentiments. You know what's a modern day political sentiment? Woman's suffrage. What? Native American genocide.
Yeah.
The problem with what he's trying to do is that his argumentation is not non-existent. He is just repeating stuff, he's reading it, and trying to make it seem like it's ridiculous. Which to anyone who actually has a brain, it isn't.
Yeah, well, you'd need to know history for that.
Yeah, if we forget all the arguments of good or bad, these are things that don't belong. And people playing the game will say, that's weird. This is modern day isms or thoughts that are in this period piece where we have great examples, especially of the Wild West, of how people behaved and thought of sexuality then and how it was looked, not only in the West, but in the East as well. We have all kinds of examples of this.
Yeah. And the in-city suffragette in Red Dead, she is an accurate depiction that fits. Because the suffragettes weren't normal women. They were what would today be blue-haired land whales, cat ladies.
That's not a very good comparison.
And they're usually women with narcissistic or borderline personality disorder. They just want stuff for themselves. The argument of the suffragettes in Britain was that black men got the vote before women. Because the black men were serving in the military. And there was a second movement, a counter movement to the suffragettes, which were the suffragists. And these women were against their universal suffrage. Because they thought that would mean that women would also be part of the draft. That all women would also have to serve. Which would be fair. But where we are now, or where we were for a long time, is that women get to vote for free, and men are still drafted. That's kind of shit.
Yeah, that's part of sexism, but that's the one that we don't talk about, because women are the ones that are oppressed by the men, because men have all the something...
No, the women, or the feminists, the bullshit, the narcissistic women, they only care about getting stuff. They don't actually care about equality. They didn't fight for the men to not have to have the draft. Or to have it equal. They just want the nice things. Not the hard things.
All these political topics that were covered for 1899,
that's why they shouldn't be listened
Sadie
to.
Adler behaves the same way a modern day feminist would. How? She's just a strong, badass cowgirl. Her husband died, and then she was being taken advantage of by O'Driscolls, and then Micah comes in. Yeah, she's probably gonna hate men a little bit. Good God. You see how reductive these types of, like, woke labels become when they actually have to write down what's woke about it instead of just pointing at women and being like, women, they're woke, you know?
That is a short list. That is not the verbose argument.
Wait a second. He just wants this character is woke in the description? That's all he wants? Is he serious?
He is making the usual argument of, oh, you don't want women in your video games, which is completely retarded. So,
No, but his main problem is that he criticizes a short list that just makes references to not be an elaborate argument.
Yeah, and he just wants references.
This is disingenuous.
That's a silly thing to say. This short list is so short, they should just have references. I'm like, what? So you want no descriptions? Like, what do you want?
No, he wants more descriptions.
Really? I thought it was the opposite.
He's using the fact that a short list, a reference list, does not give him the argument as to why this is bad in this character's instance.
Let me hear this again.
These like woke labels become woke about it instead of just pointing at women and being like, women, they're woke. You know, it's like it becomes very reductive and stupid. Skyrim is only moderately woke because an NPC in Whiterun asks you whether the sight of a strong Nord woman offends you. These are also such...
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, why is that there?
That's such a weird line.
it is a stupid line.
Yeah. These are not all accurate or not very good.
I would kill that NPC.
Unfortunately, without a mods, you cannot, because she's one of the companion NPCs which are considered essential by the game.
So it's forced on you. Well, good, we have mods then to make these games playable.
Yeah, they're here to carry your burdens till the end of the game.
Yes.
All right.
Examples like Oblivion, Dumag Gro Bunk flirts with males. What?
Another thing with the strong woman argument, does the thing of does the strong woman existing offend you? That's an assumption, and it's an accusatory assumption. That is the NPC looking for trouble in order to rouse your feathers. That's why it's bad. That's what the activists do. They allege, oh, you don't like me because I'm a strong woman. Well, most of them aren't. Most of them are petty little girls, but sorry.
The thing about this character that he's talking about in the Skyrim is that apparently when she was trying to join one of the major factions, she was fighting a duel with a guy, and since she was so much better than him, she accidentally killed him and was not accepted.
All right.
Yeah, this is the character that he is defending in here. So
Use conflicting pronouns? That's probably just a fuck up of the script or something.
You
if
wish.
it's Oblivion.
I heard that thieves broke into the Arcane University, the Imperial Legion compound, and the temple all on the same night. Wait a minute, let me do that one again. I heard that
Thankfully, informational. Contains LGBTQ plus themes without specific messaging. Fallout New Vegas. Minor LGBTQ plus NPCs. A possible companion has dialogue about her experiences as a homosexual. Light social commentary.
That's not light social commentary. That's narcissistic garbage about you fucking in the ass.
I'm convinced Yeah, go ahead.
Why do I have... I get echo from you, Ginga.
go on, Wisp.
Why do I have to have that in my game? Why do children have to have that in their game? Being reminded of ass fucking. Because that's what it is in the end. It's sexual content where it does not need to be. If you are homosexual, you don't need... Do you really need to constantly be reminded that there are fictional characters in video games that also are ass fucking around? Do you really need that? What is wrong with you? Your problem is not that you're gay. Your problem is that you're a fetishistic narcissist.
So what I remember from the game, even though I didn't play it all that much, is that this character is not exactly as it is portrayed in here. And also this light social commentary thing that he rags on about this in here is that he just goes into the Fallout New Vegas is very political, and he means it in the, different way than we use the term political. There are politics in New Vegas, but they are not modern day shit pushed into the game. They are in-game, in-world politics. And
If
Yeah.
you want to make, social commentary about your sexuality and your experience with that, nobody gives a crap about it in the West anymore for decades. And yet you have to keep talking about it as if you're the most oppressed things that exist. How about you take your gay ass over to the Islamic countries and get some real homophobic experience? And if you make it back alive, you can tell us about it. You're probably not gonna.
Yeah, I can't remember anything overtly sexual aside from Gamora in Vegas that is brought up. Obviously, one of the companions is homosexual, but it's not even a footnote. She barely says, "I want to fall in love with a girl," and it's like, oh, she has a backstory of liking a girl.
Yeah.
That's it. It's fine.
That is the entire thing.
Yeah.
That is in there. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a very deep
So
thing.
so
It's
yeah.
just-
So the way they
it's just
described it was informative. So I'm like, yeah, maybe there's talk of homosexuality in Caesar's Legion, I think, but that's about it. There's really not that much. And most of those games made by those guys do not, like KOTOR and KOTOR 2, or KOTOR 2 specifically, barely any mention of sex aside from Kriya going against the idea. Like, you do not seek relations with these women. Like, okay, like it's kind of, Chris Avellone was against that, writing that sort of stuff anyway. So I see why they brought it up, just to mention it. But yeah, it's not. There's nothing offensive about it. There's nothing progressive, I'd say.
I'm convinced this list was made, and I'm seeing it now. I'm convinced this list was made by the leftists because
Yes.
Dark Souls 1 is on the damn list. You want to know why? Even if he brings that up, you want to know why? Dark Souls 1 is on this list because of Dark Sun Gwendolyn.
I mean, Neverwinter Nights had the option for gay sex in the brothel, which is where it belongs.
Now, there's another one here that I'm convinced Ackman's not going to bring up, if I can bring it up for a moment, which is Terraria, which came out in 2011. Contains overly pro-LGBTQ plus messaging. My ass. Update 1.4.5 includes a retroactive removal of gender selection from the character creation menu. That's just the one thing. I can understand why.
That's a pretty relative one, isn't it?
It's that one, but the other one not so much. There was a gender change potion added to the game at some point, but in the update it was changed. The icon was changed to have the colors of the pride flag. That's not woke. That is actually poking fun at it.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I would see that as a woke change, not as poking fun at the woke.
Well, the list
especially
has,
if we consider fantasy. Fantasy often has this trope. D&D uses the accursed belt of sex change. That if you put it on, you can't take it off anymore. And there's this ongoing joke about Imoen, the character from Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, having a belt that she can't take off that has the exact same icon as that belt.
The Dark Souls 2 and 3 are actually on the list for similar reasons, where Dark Souls 2 has the gender swap coffin and the things betwixt.
Yeah.
That lets you change back and forth, as well as Dark Souls 3, which has the reversal ring, which lets one gender have the animations of the other when you put it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can these things you can have in these games just for the fun of it, or for just retroactively changing your character.
Yeah, I'm more concerned with the ones in red. I think that's the focus of the list, and the ones in yellow are just people made a list of stuff they found that is inoffensive or just, as they said, informative.
And it shows that they have nuance, that they can can distinguish between the hard stuff. Yes, this is bad, and there's a few red flags here, but
Yeah,
whatever.
If I may say, I would recommend changing Terraria from not recommended to informational, because that's less than a single percent of that's less than a 1,000th of a percent of the entire fucking game. And I should know, I've played this game for a few years now.
Well, so is the pedal flag in Bloons.
At least Terraria doesn't have that.
But it's very but it's very in your face.
Also, I'm pretty sure the Pride Frag recolor of that damn potion actually, if I remember correctly, that actually has the cyan in the flag. So there you go.
And back in the day, people just used the male female the Mars Venus symbol interlinked for these indicators instead of the rainbow, because fuck the rainbow.
All right.
People had to learn to associate the rainbow with this. That's I think that is horrible.
We got 2 minutes left of the Act Man. I guess he's getting angry at New Vegas criticism. Okay, fair. Let's see.
Fallout New Vegas. Light social commentary. I repeat, Fallout New...
Yes, I agree. It is light social. If you look at the creators of Vegas, they were very progressive guys. They were very open guys. And they wanted a colorful world with all kinds of different people in it, and that's what you get. So that's fair. That's totally fair. They're talking about the human condition in a post-apocalyptic world. It's great.
Light. So, who wrote this? What?
Your own side. That's
LGBTQ
who.
plus themes does New Vegas have? I never even heard of that. It's starting to sound like the people that call things woke just like they want all the gay people out of video games. Because
no, we've had Fallout has had gay sex and relations since the first game. So
the thing is, normal gay people don't have a need to talk about how they're gay all the time.
Yeah.
And if you had that in games, you could have all these gay characters there, but nobody would know they're gay, or barely. And that's the thing. And this is the same goes with real dysphorics. Nobody would notice they're there because they don't advertise themselves. And the problem of the left is that they're obsessed with the superficial. They could not make propaganda about gay people and trans people if they wouldn't make them visibly stand out and talk about how they're gay and trans all the time. So they have to make it that way. They have to make it obnoxious. Because these people don't know how to be subtle about anything. It's horrible. Nobody,
It's
who
like,
the hell
why-
wants to be portrayed like that?
why always highlight which games have homosexual or gay relationships?
Because it's part of the agenda. Even if it's light, if I make observations of what woke is. Like this guy, this is why this video is so stupid. He has no idea what he's talking about. If I have a list of what is woke and queer theory is part of that, and I go, okay, there are queer or there are homosexual elements in this story. I don't know if it's good or bad. I'm just going to list it. And then when I actually get to the point in the game and I go, okay, is the companion Veronica in New Vegas espousing politics? No, she just wants to dress to flirt with girls because she likes girls. That's it. It's like, yep, that's fine. But you still have to list them, or else you're not doing a fair enough job to every game you've played or every game you've seen that has the same element. It's how it's done. Again, all of these things, I don't care if they have a critique of capitalism or colonizers or whatever. Does it belong in the narrative? Does it represent the character? Does it represent the plot? If it's in any of those three things, great. That's the story you're telling. That's the story you're showing. That's fine. I'm okay with that. It's when it's done subtly in the way of Spider-Man 2, where it's in every single side quest or every single NPC or every single billboard or you have actual quest lines where you have to get two gay people together or all this other jazz. And it's constantly in your face on the background. Then you have a problem.
Call that subtle.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's so much of it. If you go to the actual listing of like look up Google.
Call that passive aggressive.
I don't know. There's so much. Like it's just constant bombardment in that game. And once you see it, you're like, this is over the top. This is silly. And then when you get to Veilguard, you're like, you haven't even started the game yet. You're just designing a character. Your heads are gigantic. You have ugly characters. Not to say that's a feature, not a feature of all the other character creators that BioWare's come up with. But then you have all this cosmetic crap. It's like, it's just cosmetic. So is the flag. You know what that represents? Wokeism.
Character model of Bayonetta in Bayonetta 3, which is not the real Bayonetta, but they claim it's the real Bayonetta. She also had giant hands and a way too big head.
Well,
is there are they trying to condition us to like this very strange, these strange proportions, so that we accept our alien overlords that look like that?
With Bayonetta, she's what, 7 foot something?
No. That's the original.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's Bayonetta 1 and 2 Bayonetta.
Yeah,
Bayonetta 3, they made a new model. And the new model is shorter, has smaller tits.
Oh, really?
Has a bigger head, and she has giant hands. like seriously giant, gigantic.
In regards to masculine strength, if you look at the statue of David, that's one of the techniques that Michelangelo did to showcase the fashion sense, or whatever you want to call the concept of David versus Goliath, this diminutive man who was strong, and they represented that with these larger body proportions, not hugely proportionate, because we're talking about marble, of course. So
if you did it right, but that's not what they did.
Obviously, yeah, I'm just saying.
Also, they uglified her like hell. She looks like the voice actress for the other character, and I think that's what they did there.
Yeah,
because when you have these uglified female characters, very often, and I'm willing to say probably almost every time, we will find some woman on staff that is the actual model for that uglified female character. There's somebody working there who's self-inserted.
All right. Almost at 10 minutes.
This whole thing is nothing but a Jewish plot. You do know that, don't you?
I find that highly unlikely, amigo.
Well, I don't like Jews, or colored folk, or natives, now that you mention it.
Nobody used to give a shit when it was like KOTOR or Mass Effect. Nobody cared. People that care.
People cared when Andromeda did it, you idiot.
What are you talking about? KOTOR? What are we... Give an example of KOTOR or KOTOR 2. There was barely any sexuality in those games. Mass Effect 2, the first game,
that was Andromeda.
Well, that's another story. But
he showed Andromeda, and we laughed our asses off at that hard insert, allegedly trans character that went to another galaxy just to tell you of her old life.
Nobody used to give a shit when it was like KOTOR or
Yeah.
You know, because when you transition, when you have dysphoric and you transition and go on a colony ship, so you become infertile on a colony ship to another galaxy where you start a new life, hopefully without your dysphoria. So you're fully transitioned. You pass perfectly because somehow you've been genetically rewired. Maybe she is even fertile because it's the future. It's the Mass Effect future. We have genophages and stuff like that you just whoop up in your lab on the weekend. And so you have achieved complete transition, are in another galaxy. And the first thing you tell the random bunch of adventurers who come into your little lab is that you were once a man. Nobody who has this condition would do that.
This is an alien species who's very passionate and I think bisexual. I can't remember the Angaras, if you can romance male or female rider.
I don't remember the cat people.
Yeah, that's there's two or three alien species in all of Andromeda. Again, BioWare being lazy to not do whatever they wanted to do. And just have them let's have them romance the alien. It's like, sure. Woohoo. Well, both sexes. Like, okay. Why not? It's easier that way. It's faster. We don't have to have two sets of lines of dialogue and two romance paths, or rather just one romance path for males and something different for the females. So, it's you could tell it's cheap. Where Andromeda was a rush job, and the bugs prove that.
Cared. The people that cared were the out-of-touch Fox.
No. Is this still being brought up? This thing from 2007?
No, it is not. It is brought up by people like Actman who tried to prove some point in a badly constructed
This
way.
is even the person on the left who was the anti-sex character. She never played the game, and then she a week later they showed her the game, and she was like, "Yeah, this is nothing. This sex scene in Mass Effect 1 with Liara is like not even PG-14."
It was also right before the end of the fucking game.
Yeah. And who is complaining about sexy characters in video games now?
Yeah.
It's the wokies.
I was gonna say, to be specific, not just near the end of the game. That sex scene marks the point of no return for the game.
Yeah, there's
complain
dramatic...
about 2B. They complained about Bayonetta. Then they liked her. Then they liked 2B. Then they complained about Stellar Blade. Soon they will like Stellar Blade.
Yeah, that's queer theory of not sex positivity but body image positivity. So it doesn't matter what your body image is. You should be happy and positive about being a fat lardo or whatever. Like, you should have a good mental health for sure, but you should also be fully aware that obesity is a problem amongst the Western
I
world.
believe the obesity positivity movement is part of the eugenics program.
Oh, jeez.
Because
eugenics.
all these women die very, very early. They tend to not have children. They have complications when giving birth.
I was gonna say, all the people that started the movement in the first place have all died by now.
There is that big clip by Blair White where it's all of those fat activists, and it's just she died, he's dead.
They all exactly, yeah, they all did.
All in the past 5 years.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Ouch. Okay, well,
We'll dig it up.
This joke of his is this is silly. He's trying to equate this with the religious right in the 80s. I'm like, no, not really. It doesn't work.
Well, I do, but in a different way. He's trying to distract, because he will never mention that it is the left, it is the woke who complain about sexy characters in video games. Because they
sex scene.
Yeah, and this is the only example he could bring up. I can't think of any other, what was the issue with other games outside of the first Mass Effect?
This was literally the only one, just that the sex scene was in the game.
Yeah.
Again, said scene was the scene that marked the point of no return for the game,
which had dramatic value and.
Yeah, and what the wokies do is they don't want good-looking people, especially good-looking women. They're fine with good-looking men, because they're gay people, they're women. They want to see good-looking men, but they don't want to see good-looking women. And instead, they want to see deviant sex. That's what they cheer for, but they don't want to see good-looking heterosexual sex.
Well, you remember that
an observation that we have recently made was that they are even started to take off, good-looking men from the shampoos.
Really?
Yeah.
Just replacing them with fruits.
Yeah. Yeah, it's here in the supermarket.
Well, I remember seeing the.
Although I also liken that to the simplification of all the logos that we see.
I'm trying to remember.
Every logo gets simplified into these geometric shapes, and I think that is a move towards that as well. Until in the end, there's only one logo of the one megacorp that rules the world.
I seem to recall that YouTuber that did she was praising the top scars in the Veilguard character creator, and then there was that cartoon made about her. And she's an actual YouTuber, and she's like, "Oh, Veilguard's gonna be amazing." She's making videos about it to this day. I guess she got popular as a result of that. And like, who are you? I'm assuming she's a dyke. I'm assuming she's a homosexual. She looks like one. I could be wrong. Is that what the demographic that BioWare is trying to target? Like, do they want?
Yes.
Just
They're making that. All that's left at BioWare is gay communists.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
And so they make the thing for themselves.
I guess.
For an absolute minority. And it's not even that all gay people are for the communist bullshit. So even of that under 5% demographic, they make it for a fraction of that.
Yeah. Well,
and that's why they go broke.
Anyway, I'm going to do another 40 seconds. This guy is just fruitless. I don't know what people see in him. He's trying to make you laugh.
I think he's full of fruit. He's an entire cake of fruit.
He's a flan. Okay.
No, a fruit cake.
He's a fruit. Well, there's actually a flan cake which is full of fruit too, but you know.
Oh my god.
Anyway.
Ew,
let's not get into
disgusting.
Let's get into baked goods right now. Let's get into last minute of this, then we'll go to the last 2 minutes.
Representatives. Now we have like gamers writing this shit. What happened? GTA 5? God damn it.
Obviously.
Unfortunately, it features multiple minor LGBTQ plus NPCs. Isn't that unfortunate? Yeah.
Does it? I never heard of that before.
That was a guy from New Vegas, the Kings. What are you doing?
No, yeah.
What?
First of all, wrong game.
Yeah.
But seriously, I had never heard about that of GTA 5. What the fuck? And even then, if they are in there, that's probably to poke fun at them because GTA 5 was the last one where they actually gave a damn about that.
And I think it was white, or sorry, it was yellow. It wasn't red. Like, let me just go back there.
It's like GTA 5 became one of the best-selling games of all time for a damn reason.
Yeah, it's informative. It's not problematic or whatever they want to call it.
At the very least.
Yeah. So you're just saying the element, all these games, Fallout 4, New Vegas 3, 5, Borderlands 2, all these games are informative. They're to inform you that these things are there, not that they're a problem.
Again, I still think Terraria, the one I mentioned, should be informative because that's almost nothing of the game.
And as long as we can laugh about this crap in these games, it's fine-ish. If we have to like it, it's not.
Yeah.
Thing is, Terraria doesn't push it like a lot of these other games do. That one should be at best informational.
Yeah.
Games that are safe though. Team Fortress 2, no woke content.
No shit, Sherlock.
Thank God for that. Witcher 3. Several minor characters provide exposition regarding their experiences as homosexual individuals. You can't even talk about what it's like to be gay.
In medieval Poland, you would get into trouble.
Well, in this context, again, it's informational. It's like he's not understanding the hierarchy here. Like he's just saying, "Oh, it's informational." It's like, yeah, we're here to inform the player that this has this in this game. It's not as bad as you might think. So
I don't want to know about your anal practices.
In The Witcher 3, a lot of nasty things happen. So yeah. But
now, the thing is, culturally, these things would get you killed.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, this is really pointless. We're going to go for another 20 seconds and then skip the end.
Without it being like, that's just so weird. Oh, shit.
Okay, I'm done. This is stupid.
No, he got the Dark Souls. He's right there.
No, I don't care. It's all informative. He's going to complain something that is informative. Not
at least that's one, and then we could cut it off.
So
Dark Souls.
Couldn't he just ignore the yellow ones?
He should have.
Yeah. At least Dark Souls, and then we can cut it off. If he says anything at all.
Go there. That's just so weird. Oh shit, man! The Dark
because
Souls.
These actually do describe their shit.
Dark Souls has only been moderately compromised, okay? Gwendolyn was born a male but raised as a female and given clothes and a magic ring to help him act like a female. At least they're familiar with the lore to a certain extent. It is tragic that
It does sound a bit like the John Money experiment.
That is part of the lore, though.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, that's a common trope. It's not a big deal. It doesn't sound that big.
Yeah, but it is the fact that they made it an explicit part of the backstory. So that one is just common sense.
Yeah. I'm not seeing a problem.
What about 2 and 3, though?
Okay, we'll keep going.
Let's see.
the entire Dark Souls trilogy contains some woke stuff, guys. I can't recommend that.
No, it doesn't.
Helldivers 2, though.
All right, no, we're done.
Okay, now we're done. It's like, okay, at least he skims it. At least he says Dark Souls 1 thing is part of the lore. At least some common sense in that head.
All right, here we go. 2 minutes.
Yep.
Please sell us something. Please sell us something. Please sell us something.
Like half of the games that are
Still.
listed as woke are just like gay, like Romancylvania. They're just reviewing romance games, like Knights of the
What's your...
No, it's a list of 14,000. Of course, there's gonna be all the shit in there that you never even have heard of. And you know there are websites all about marking content for its tropes, including fetish tropes, so that people who are into those fetishes can find more stuff that contains their fetishes. And one of those is metamorphose.org, I believe, that, as you can guess from the name, tracks all the tropes related to that, because there are like, it's flabbergasting. It's like 30 subtropes of that, that different people are into different subtropes of that. So some are into body swaps, some are into transformations, some are solely into the gender bender stuff. And there's like a million of these. And they also list all the minor things, not just the way it's the main story thing, but also there's like here, there's like, oh yeah, there's a potion in that game that is there, or another item.
Yeah.
And that's that.
Okay, before we start these last 2 minutes, I looked at the
list.
list.
Is basically the same.
Yeah, these are 2 other entries I'm going to bring up quick that I am convinced were made by Deus Ex Human Revolution, for one. It's informational, but check this out. Contains subtle pro-transhumanism content. This game revolves around the idea of human augmentation, and player growth is intrinsically tied to this principle.
All cyberpunk is about transhumanism.
That is
inevitable.
Exactly.
That is a different definition of transhumanism. Yeah.
Well, it is. Yeah, it is a neutral type. But with all, once you start with transhumanist tropes in anything cyberpunk, you will get the body augmentation fetishists. And the body augmentation fetishists, they also will divert into the sex changes, or into what we had in the Shadowrun universe, especially, where you also have the magic come back at the same time as we have the technological progress. So there will be people who turn into dwarves and elves and orcs, and some people don't turn into elves and orcs. They don't have it in their genes, but they want to be. They really, really want to be, and they're really upset they're not. And those then surgically change themselves to look more like elves or orcs, depending on what they want to be. And in that world, those people are called elf posers and orc posers. And that's why I call all these non-dysphoric people who transition transposers.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Then the other one was... this is the one that does me in. Portal 2, also informational. Contains subtle anti-patriarchy messaging. All male characters are portrayed negatively and as less competent than the female characters. That's not woke. That's just the joke.
Yeah, I don't think the sex of the test subjects was really an issue in Portal 2.
No, it was always ambiguous. Yeah. The only one that was explicit was Chell, and even then, that's only confirmed at the very beginning of the first game when you see the first portals.
Yeah, it's basically Samus Aran in Metroid. It doesn't really make
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Actions speak louder than words.
Okay. I mean, that's informative, so that's good. It's just making the
observation. It's just making the observation. That's an observation that's just the joke. Very funny joke, I might add.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Okay, let's continue with this video. We're almost done because we skipped ahead, thankfully, and he's still on the list. Like, this is his video. I'm gonna make a joke about the list and how silly it is. Good for you.
He's just belittling it.
Because of Juhani. Ace Attorney Trilogy.
What?
Trials and Tribulations features a minor gay character who behaves in a flamboyantly effeminate way.
Again, that's the joke.
Yeah, and that's
That-
just a Japanese trope.
Yeah.
And it's a trope that the woke hate.
I don't see how this is a like he must have figured out by now by just going through his list that that's not a big deal. And if it's informational, it's not an issue. Like that should have clicked into his brain by now.
He
has
needs to
it
make
a big-
outrage content.
Yes, he has to make it into a big deal because all the list, the whole list is apparently, woke curator content. So, by definition, every game on the list that is marked as red or yellow is woke. That is the assumption that he's working on.
Weird.
And that he's trying to push.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're almost done. So.
Who cares? Trials and Tribulations is the best Ace Attorney game. Tied with Spirited Justice, in my opinion. Mortal Kombat 1, nearly multiple male characters have been retconned and emasculated.
Yes.
Yes.
They have been.
Scorpion's penis.
From first-hand experience, I can tell you that, yes, that is what happened, and it's been happening since 2011 with this franchise. It's nothing new, but that makes it worse.
This guy's just gaslighting us now.
With this one, this is the one that gives it away if you know anything about the Mortal Kombat crap.
Email. It's just insane scrolling through this. You could really, it's like going to a zoo and seeing all the exhibits. Dave the Diver is woke. Contains pro DEI messaging. The player character is a fat guy who can somehow deep dive and swim long distances without trouble. The sushi chef is black. Oh my.
I mean, that's just funny.
This was made to piss off both sides, I swear to God.
That's just funny. I never heard of this game, but that description is just funny.
That one is just funny, I swear. This was just made to piss off both sides. No matter how you sit on the no matter which side you sit on with this whole damn argument.
You know what? If you make some tiny stupid little game and self-insert yourself into that, all power to you. And if you make yourself a fat diver in your pretty pixel game, like, okay, have fun.
Do you know how much cardio swimming is? I mean, that would burn a lot of fat, but if you're already fat and you've got a wetsuit, you'd be fighting against your own buoyancy. You'd be like,
that is what I was going to say.
That is what makes him a superhero. But and honestly, that is what always our argument is against these fat souls that go on about, but why are all the superheroes so fit? That's not body positive. Well, if you're a superhero, you run around all day, you fight evil all day, you're gonna be fit.
It would be great if throughout the course of the game, the main character is losing weight as he has the level.
Yeah.
Because he's
that would be
exercising.
so great.
And it's just a natural thing that's happening. You're like, hey, why is this character model getting smaller and smaller?
Yeah, and then he gets muscles.
He's like, let's go for a dive. Yeah, let's do it.
Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines is on the list.
Of course.
Yeah, naturally.
It's an adult game, yeah.
That's some weird shit in that game going on.
To be exact, before we finish this off, the one for Bloodlines, and it's informational, so at least middle ground. The one for that one contains subtle pro-LGBTQ plus messaging, homosexual romance options, same-sex flirting options depending on player choice. That's just the game.
No. Yeah, that's just because so the vampire is a predator. The vampire does not see humans still as humans. It sees humans as prey, as chattel. So the vampire, who needs blood, needs to lure a human, doesn't matter whether it's a man or woman, into a safe location where the vampire can then suck off the blood of the prey. And the Vampire the Masquerade vampires do not give a crap about sex. Sexual gratification is nothing to them. They can't even get it up. The men have to control the blood flow consciously in their bodies for that. But the thing is, they don't enjoy it. They take no joy from it. The only thing that the vampires in Vampire the Masquerade take joy from is sucking blood. And they describe it as 1 billion times better than sex ever was. And even the toreadors, which if you ever know anything about the vampire live action role-playing scene, the fat, blue-haired, borderline girls always play toreadors. Toreadors are always sexy. They look good. They're not fat landwells, but the fat landwells always play them, of course, as their fantasy. Ginga Echo.
Sorry.
And the toreadors, they do play with sex appeal to lure in their prey. But they don't actually give a shit about the sex. It's only about getting prey. And you can interpret this as, they're doing the gay thing. They're doing the gay flirting. But it's not really gay flirting. It's a predator trying to, suck your blood. Maybe kill you.
Yeah, it's not the gay thing.
The reason why they do it
thing.
like that is because they have to uphold the masquerade. Which means the humans are not to find out that vampires even exist. Because there are only a few vampires, but a lot of humans. And while the vampires are supernaturally stronger than the humans, there being so many humans, and vampires, not being able to be very active during the day, being very vulnerable, they can't let the humans know. Because the humans would just kill them. That is the whole thing. So, Vampire the Masquerade, if you look superficially at it, yeah, it could have these gay tones. If you know anything about the lore, it doesn't have that. That's it.
Yeah, there's lots of vampire erotica. Anne Rice is probably the best example that use the whole seduction, the euphoric pleasure of not only to the vampire but to the victim as well, being bitten. Mm-hmm. So it's a very common romance trope for those style of stories. So yeah, of course there's going to be some sex in there. That's kind of a given.
Yeah, and that's my issue with Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That throws that concept out the window because
it
they need the soap opera love triangle nonsense crap.
They neutered it pretty much. They took all the fun out of it. Yeah, but they have to because it's for the CW or whatever.
The thing is, Joss Whedon. He was in. There were a few episodes where he showed that he had the potential to really dive in this world of darkness atmosphere.
I remember
he could have done it.
They did some of that with the Angel series, not so much with the Buffy series. That's why I don't know why Buffy is.
There are two episodes that stand out with that. The Silence episode is that has this vibe to it until it ends with jokes and everything.
Yeah.
And the other one is the episode where Buffy's mom dies,
right? Which
is played completely straight, and where you in the end have a vampire in the morgue that I think it's somebody who was just turned, and who gets up, and Buffy is in a weak moment there. And in that scene, the vampire suddenly has this superhuman strength again, and it really feels like a proper horror scene. The whole thing feels sincere and grounded, and the whole episode, everything had weight, and that could have been Buffy as a whole.
Yeah, there are lots of more magical, evil creature of the week, vampire of the week sort of stories. I do recall one with Angel where he's seducing some sort of electrical powered chick, and the chick kisses him and touches his chest and kickstarts his heart, and all of a sudden he's felt his heart after like hundreds and hundreds of years. He's like, oh my god, I'm feeling alive, and it goes away. So you could do all these wonderful fun things with the world that Whedon created. And in some cases he did, making the magic real, and a lot of the stories of like the ballerina that was trapped forever and all these other wonderful things. So he did do some interesting things, but he was held back a lot in creatively, I could tell. and with set design and other things. My neighbor was a big vampire buff, so I would watch stuff with her, and that was the one show I actually watched with her because everything else she watched was crap. So anyway, we're almost done.
My God, it's not recommended. See, we're judging it. Don't play this game. The main character's fat. Dave the Diver has insane reviews. 97% of 100,000. That is wild to hate this game because the main character.
They don't hate the game. Why? Where are you getting that? What are you talking about?
Making an assessment isn't hatred, you idiot.
If I list a bunch of stuff in New Vegas that has, like slavery, yes, slavery is bad. I'm not saying yay, go Legion. No, I'm just saying it's in the game. I'm telling you that. I don't mark it with a big red X like don't play this game or slavery will be in it. No. The guy making the list isn't stopping you from buying.
And Tyler Preston, I cannot answer your question because both shows are internally inconsistent, and I am not sure how much both want to be comedies.
Yeah, it's tough.
One character is black. Wild. Well, I hope this has been enlightening for all.
Well, he said he told us that this list was made by somebody from autism.net.
I guess.
Which the autism movement, by the way, is captured by the left very strongly, and they are grooming autistic kids to believe that they are trans, which leads to them being infertile and unable to reproduce, which leads to the autism genes not stabilizing, which is a problem. And if not even dying out. And the thing is that artists raised properly are very critical people. And maybe that's the reason. Because they'll just point at an inconsistency and say, look, an inconsistency. And if there's something that socialists, communists, narcissists do not like, it is being reminded of their errors. So maybe there's a connection there. Who knows? The thing is, if this was an artist making this list, well, of course it has everything in it. What did you think?
I would argue.
Why do you hate Actman? Why do you hate artists? Why are you autistophobic?
I would argue it was a list of quantity, not in terms of descriptions, but in terms of the number of entries, not the detail.
It's just everything, and I like that there's a classification for severity.
So, one more before going to memes. It's like the Scott Pilgrim game which has gay characters, even though those characters have existed since the original book from 20 years ago.
Scott Pilgrim, you can generally classify as woke because it romanticizes borderline personality disorder.
The concept of fighting mini bosses, which are ex-boyfriends, the
Netflix show is indisputable. I'm talking about as far back as the book, the original books, and the movie had these characters already, and no one complained.
Well, that's because people were not aware of the dangers of borderline personality disorder, and why trying to get together with a borderline girl is a really bad idea.
That's not the character I'm referring to. I'm referring to the guy that is very obviously gay, which is, Wallace, Scott's roommate?
But I'm making the argument that romanticizing borderline personality disorder is part of the woke movement. It's just something that goes under the surface. Because it's the borderliners who push this ideology the most, because they are obsessed with the victim narrative.
Yeah, when we talk about mental health, it's not really part of the major 5 I can think of, the branches of Marxism for woke ideology. But for some reason, they like defending people with mental conditions. I'm like, what is the problem?
Oh, it's because
minority.
The ideology was made by the mentally insane. If you look at Marx, he's a raging narcissist. you read his biography, and you tell me that is not a rage. That is not pathological.
I tend
to look at Lenin.
Same
thing. Mao. Same thing.
I tend to look at this is just another minority in the racial element, and they just take that. They take everything. They take whatever they can find. And
but it's what I'm getting at is it's an ideology by the mentally insane, specifically by the narcissists, by the cluster Bs, for the cluster Bs.
Okay. Fair enough. Almost done.
All of you have installed most of these games or deleted them from your hard drives. And I just wanted to do my part to raise awareness. Don't buy woke games like Fallout New Vegas, Knights of the Old Republic, Street Fighter 6, Power World, and of course, Call of Duty. But which is your favorite woke game? Let me know in the comments down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the Woke
Are you
Man
serious?
for more awesome content.
Really?
Right, everyone?
Is he still saying, are you, what is this? Dude, you got like 1 million subs. What more do you need? Hey guys, like my video and subscribe and ring the bell. And it's like, are you joking? Is this 2016? Like, what are you doing? Oh, dude.
It's just every video. That's a lot. Smart. Lots of people still do this.
It's nauseating. Anyway,
there's memes.
I bet there are.
Starting with the laughing shadow.
Okay. See what we got. Just get over there.
Doop, 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 doop.
Okay. The world, USA, gay communism.
I guess.
Maybe not.
Kinda.
Maybe not that extreme.
Actually, reverse gay communism in the world.
Well, the US is currently pushing the gay communism.
All right. We have given ourselves awards, therefore you cannot criticize us or our garbage decisions. Yeah, that was stupid.
Yeah.
That was so dumb. This game has awards. Like, and what's your argument? And we didn't even know what those awards were from. Were they like the Game Awards, or were they like some others?
It was at the Game Awards where Baldur's Gate 3 won quite a few of them.
Oh, really?
Again, I just think the reason why there wasn't as much pushback against that game in particular was because it became an exception by being an actual good game. It still has all the shit, but somehow came out as an actual good game.
Yeah, the plot of having a tadpole in your brain that's going to eat you and turn you into another being is kind of a little more pressing than sex. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, well, duh.
Somebody drinking Pepto-Bismol? I don't know what's going on here.
An ancient episode from The Simpsons.
The Canary and Dragon Age Valkyrie.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
He was addicted to this drink, and it caused super growth.
Oh, you can accept dragons, elves, and walk and talking trees, but you can't accept a 2021 BMW 5 Series 530i with optional heated seating. Why are you so bigoted?
Well, that is their broken logic.
Mm-hmm. It's fantasy. Anything could be there.
Yeah. I don't care much for the pronouns and woke stuff in Starfield. It's really not a big deal. It's like 1% of the game. I guess you're right. I'll just remove that part so I can ignore it easier. And then
Yep. That's essentially what's going on.
That's the what's it called? Vortex.
Nexus mods.
Nexus mod.
Nexus mod. Sorry.
Wait. Nexus mod's logo is a happy windmill.
That is the.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The Jews should control everything.
Good stories.
Nothing ever happens. What the hell is this? A
Who's
classic.
saying that in this picture? I'm confused.
Yeah.
The Simpsons one?
No, the collage.
Microwave your RR head. It will help us all.
Sure. Uh-huh.
Whisp, that was a picture of Frank Herbert.
Oh no!
Really? Amazing.
I only know this picture where he's sick, where he looks very different.
Okay, I got on Grindr thinking it was an app for hustlers. These
motherfuckers trying to fuck me.
Oh, Grindr. I was like, what the hell? What's he talking about?
Yeah, you get it now, right?
Op actually can stop sucking. Refuses to.
Yeah, the OP. The original.
I don't know. I think he's just generally dumb, and just this is his hot take, and you're like, all right, whatever. Like zero effort. Oh, what is that word?
Actman can go fuck himself.
Okay, I was like, what is that font? I'm like, what am I?
I'm pretty. I feel like this channel, Aristocratic Utensil, probably responded to this video that we just covered.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah.
I think I'd have to double check.
That is
Yeah,
an Art
that is the
Deco font, and it makes it look really funny.
It's a $, but it got translated to the pound symbol. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Well, he is British.
I guess. Zombie apocalypse must be those black Jewish homosexuals.
Oh yeah, the one NPC from Red Dead 1.
I'm Herbert Moon. All
Yeah.
right. Blair White. All right, let's hit the play button. Oh God.
Just because I'm fat, that doesn't invalidate the things that I say.
She died.
Oh yeah, this
You
one.
ready to get supersized?
She died too.
Oh my God.
Today I've got the big Fruit Loop.
He's dead.
Oh. Boy.
Join me on my fat positive radio show,
which didn't last long because she died.
Oh my.
I remember.
Yeah, that's just straight up.
Holy Jesus.
Yeah, all in their 30s.
That's scary.
Being fat literally kills you.
And as a reminder,
Peter corrects me that Spoon is South African. I didn't know that.
Okay. And I was gonna say on the Blair White thing again. As a reminder, all of those people were the ones that started the obesity positivity thing in the first place.
Yeah.
All of them.
And now they're positively dead.
Yeah.
Okay. South Park: The Fractured But Whole.
Really? South Park?
I don't remember that game.
It was the second. It was the second game of the ones that from more recent years. The first one was Stick of Truth.
Yes.
Yeah, and I have bought neither because they're massively censored in Germany.
Oh. Contains overtly pro LGBTQ messaging. I mean, it's
it does not.
South Park. You're gonna joke about this stuff anyway. Option for the player character to be other instead of male or female. If other is selected, the player will be told there is nothing wrong with being non-binary.
This is South Park. That is specifically to make fun of that crap.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. So yeah, I guess this guy took offense to that. Okay.
If it's South Park, you know it's for a joke.
You could assume that if it was made by an artist, it might be an artist on the level of taking everything literally and therefore not understanding the sarcasm in South Park.
Possibly.
Fair. Okay, that's fair. I just mean for anyone else that sees this, it's like, yeah, when South Park does it, it is for a joke.
Yeah, that's kind of the whole idea.
I mean, hell, literally the first game, Stick of Truth, had 4 class options. You had the Warrior, the Thief, and the Mage. One of them was Jew. And Jew was the best class in the game. Straight up, it was the most overpowered class of the 4.
Did he throw money?
I swear to God.
What did he do?
You literally. Let's just keep going with the memes. Let me look up the damn special moves that the Jew class can do in Stick of Truth, just so you know the joke with that. Let me find that. Keep going with the memes while I find that.
This is how movie studios think we're going to react to new movies. It broke. It's not working. Never mind.
Is it blocked?
Oh, there it is.
How'd you like the movie?
Yeah, it worked for me.
That movie was woke.
As hell,
Dude, I would hate to be told a story. Just a bunch of executive decisions in a row, please. Yes. One after the other after the other. I feel like I was in the boardroom.
Dude, I was so worried they were going to cast the best actor for the role. So glad they did it.
I know this was the third, but I'll take 3 more of those. I'm eating it like a bunch of shit.
Dude, I love that companies like Disney make so much money.
Yeah, this is just making fun of the consumers.
Man, I was happy with the 6 cameos in that movie.
Yeah, that's the general idea.
Of which there exist about as many as are in this video.
Ryan Reynolds. Deadpool! Yo, Joel, you good?
What's wrong?
Joel?
$1 billion, guys. They did it again. $1 billion. They made $1 billion. Let's go see that.
Yo, let's go see that dog shit again.
Okay, that dog shit again. Wait, Deadpool and Wolverine? That movie was actually good.
I don't know. Were they referring to that? They just pointed to Ryan Reynolds.
They pointed to Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, really?
But that movie was really good.
All right. Here we got Warhammer 40K Space Marines 2. Not recommended. Contains overtly pro DEI messaging. Not sure what. The Ultramarines seen in game are improbably improbably diverse.
I would agree with that.
Features frontline female competence. Well, that's not unheard of.
That's the guard. They do exist in the guard. I think it's questionable because you want the females to produce more soldiers, especially in this universe. But they can have it,
including an improbable female authority figure. Okay.
Yeah, that on top is what's stretching it.
Yeah, it's already over the top.
So if you bring everything together, then it stands out. If you had only one of these elements, it wouldn't.
Yeah, it depends because
it wouldn't be that much.
There's so many factions and groups in 40k where it's already over the top. But if you start cherry picking, here's a female where she doesn't belong, then that would be a problem.
The thing with the Ultramarines is that becoming an Astartes means that you get the gene seed of your gene father, the Primarch, which goes down the line of through the Astartes, of course. But you basically have a third parent, and that affects how you look, of course, as you transform into this super soldier that is about almost double the height of a normal human, and that means you will look much more like your Primarch. And the Ultramarines are all thus modeled after Gilliman, and Gilliman looks like your very light-skinned, blonde, blue-eyed Roman emperor as a super buff guy. So you cannot be a purebred black African or Asian or Mongolian. You would at least move closer to look like him. If you would join the White Scars of Jagatai Khan, who is a Mongolian, you would, even if you were what you call white, European, or an African, you would then look closer to Jagatai Khan and look more Mongolian after the process. So the cast of Space Marine 2 having a purebred black African Ultramarine and an Asian guy is weird. You won't notice it if you don't know this background lore about Warhammer, but if you do, you might wonder a bit.
All right.
But if you bring all of these things together, like all of these, like the guard captain can exist in Warhammer 40k, no problem. But when you have all of these elements all together at the same time, it looks a bit forced.
Okay, here's racist commercial Gary's mattress. Is this a thing? Wow. That was killer.
I mean, it is the same as internet ads, really.
There's also that one ad with the whites-only laundromat.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That is also very funny.
So we already watched we read the David Diver one with the Ant-Man, so let's read that again. Another video from Dubis Gubis. Mortal Kombat story is no good. Okay, is it short? Let's find out.
Just over a minute.
Hey, Ed.
Oh, hey, Scorpion. How's it going, man?
Listen, I'm just gonna cut the crap. When do I get to be the main character?
What are you talking about?
I mean that you put me on every games box, but I just end up getting to the sideline to killed in the story. Don't yeah me. I'm feeling kind of dicked around.
Listen, I'm sorry. We gotta make room for my new idea.
What's that?
Well, you know that character who had a fatality where he just punched you in the balls like a little bitch?
You're giving it to fucking Johnny?
No. To his baby.
His baby?
Yeah, her name's Cassie Cage, and she does selfies and chewing gum. She's so relatable.
You're going to sideline me, the guy on the box, in the name of Mortal Kombat babies.
Can I ask you to word that differently? You made it sound really stupid. It is stupid. Oh, don't be like that. You're giving me second billing to a character who came out of Johnny Cage's balls. I'm a little pissed. That's a really good point. I'm gonna reset everything. Again? Yeah, because I really want. You're going to undo everything you've written for a second time. You're really entitled, you know that? You put me on the box. Sorry, I got a little bit of a misconception here. What the fuck are you trying to write? Alright, so first things first as always, Reptile dies immediately. What are you doing this to me? What?
That's good.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Mortal Kombat was cool, and then they started retconning.
Yeah, well, they added a lot to the lore for sure. Yeah.
Well, they've always retconned. It's just that starting in 2011, it was shit.
No, they didn't retcon in the first game because that was the first game. You can't retcon when you only have one game.
All right.
Sherlock.
Okay. Well, that was a gigantic joke as far as videos go. I mean, anyone could read the list, and he just freaked out about it because he didn't understand it. I don't even think he knew what the word meant. I don't even think he knew what the list meant. This was just one ignorant guy going, this is silly. I don't like this. Yeah, okay, sure.
I don't think he cares about what he says in the first place.
Well, if you can't define your terms, you're an idiot laughing at language you don't understand. And I'm just like, why did you waste our time? Who likes this content? This is silly. So, yes, there are games that have woke content in there, and yes, there are all kinds of elements part of that world that doesn't make them good or bad. It just happens to be in the game. And it's up to you to determine whether it's offensive or worth your time and that sort of jazz. So I'm sure some of those games are even fun to play with the crap they've got in there. So don't be afraid to refund your cash on Steam or wherever you buy your games. It's not the end of the world. They'll happy to help you out there. But no, be very careful with what you spend your money on and your time with. That's kind of the rule in life. And if someone makes a list of things that you like, enjoy, or you don't like, then just don't worry about it. It's a weird thing. Like, it's hard to find those games that are inherently bad, like we saw this year. That everything about them, the game design is bad, the visual design is bad, and Veilguard's going to be one of those weird examples where it will sell reasonably okay, but everything about it looks off, and we don't know how many hardcore fans there are out there, because there are a lot of hardcore fans of Dragon Age, regardless of what the marketing will say. There's going to be at least 100,000 probably the first week. So, who knows? But yeah, that was a horrible video. Unfortunately, not too many laughs out of that one. So,
complete waste.
Yeah.
What kind of people watch this guy?
Well, it's not even a layman approach. It's just I read thing. Thing is I don't like. That's it. No understanding of what it means.
He's putting himself as the smart guy because, oh look, this is ludicrous.
Yeah. Okay.
Have fun in your Commutopia work camp.
Okay. That was 2.5 hours of us trying to make sense of the Act Man. Not much to be made, but thank you anyway for listening. We will talk to you real soon. Keep the suggestions coming. Keep the voting going. And hopefully we'll have something ready by Saturday. I'll be unavailable on Sunday because it's Canadian Thanksgiving. So unfortunately, I'll be busy that day. And hopefully by the time Wednesday turns around, I'll have a better internet connection. Not that this one is inherently bad. It's just not as powerful as the one I'll be getting. So hopefully that will be all set up and there'll be no technical hiccups or no downtime. We'll find out. I'm not too sure. It's all the model of ISPs these days. I don't know if you're familiar. You pretty much do it yourself. They give you the hardware. You plug all the things together, and you pray that everything's configured correctly, which I know is not the easiest thing to do with networking technology. Although everything
it's been a thing for over a decade.
Everything is plug and play and hot swappable, and it's not hard. But I do actually have a background in some in networking tech, so I'm like I know what I'm talking about when I talk to technicians. But even now, like I was surprised the throughput on 802.11n Wi-Fi is 450 megabits per second. I was like, wow, I didn't know it was that high, because I'm used to DSL speeds. So I'm going from DSL, which is 50 Mbps, to 1,000 Mbps or 1 gig.
You were still on DSL?
Yeah. It's
wow.
The reason why I'm on it, and the only reason, is because it's consistent and it's based off POTS, which is the phone line. And every time, even growing up in my area at the time, my friends were on cable and I was on DSL or ADSL. And I was up 99% of the time, and they were down every weekend or whatever. Like every week, it was horrible for them, even though they were getting faster speeds. So I didn't care about that. I just wanted to be always up.
Yeah, stability is preferable.
Yeah, same with water, same with electricity. I don't care. As long as it's working, I'm happy. It doesn't have to be super fast. But now I got the money, I got the time.
But smart. Instead of having a constant water supply every day that keeps you alive, you could have instead 100 liters on Monday.
Yeah, well.
Only on Monday.
Only on Mondays. Oh, God. Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great night. Bye-bye.